Alrighty, guys, The Last of Us Season 2, the wait is finally over. And most of you guys waited longer than I did because I was not immediately on The Last of Us bandwagon, The Last of Us train, if you will. I was a little bit late. I think I watched the entire first season, I want to say a few months later, and I loved it. I have not played the video games, and I think that, the way that this show handles its source material, it makes somebody like me who just hasn't seen the games and who doesn't know anything about season 2 or part 2 even more excited, because I just think the way that they handle the material is so beautifully done. And afterwards you can kind of go, and I don't play video games all that much, but it makes me want to at least look at the story and how they adapted it afterwards. And I think that that's really a great thing that the showrunners have done with the first season. So I really enjoyed the first season. And of course the first season ended on that cliffhanger. Not a cliffhanger per se, but the dilemma of, Joel taking Ellie out before they could extract the cure from her and not telling her. And, how that's going to manifest, we will see, I hope soon, in The Last of Us Season 2. And the first reviews have come out here. And they are all very largely positive. And that is a great sign to see. So let me do my, I really enjoy doing this where I go through Rotten Tomatoes and just read the little blurbs. Because again, if I were to read through every single review, that would just take years and years and years. But let's just read through the little blurbs that the critics have on Rotten Tomatoes. I believe, I could be wrong, I believe they've seen the entire season. And so hopefully that is a good indication of things to come. So let's just start at the top. I'll read through, a lot of these are positive. So I'll read through a few positive ones and then we'll try to jump to the negative ones. Right now, as I'm recording this, it has a 93% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is very good. And obviously it's very good. And so we will see how that fluctuates here or there. So let's start out here with the first one. The Last of Us Season 2 honors why people connect so much with the story of Joel and Ellie while making it very clear that the infected might be literal monsters, but there are more dangerous things out there that happen to look like us. Very, very interesting. Very deep kind of quote there. The next one. Season 2 of The Last of Us is absolutely superb, even if somewhat flawed. Interesting. Okay. This reviewer gave it a 4 out of 5 though as well. So very, very good. The Last of Us Season 2 is a poignant story of the cost of revenge and the cycle of violence. It has a more significant scope and more personal stakes than its predecessor, some spectacular set pieces and terrifying zombie moments. That's you know what? If I had to put a checklist down of everything I wanted to see in The Last of Us Season 2, that probably is it right there. So that's exciting. The next one. If The Last of Us Season 2 is the triumph, it is. It's not just because of a story a lot of people are anticipating, but because of the beats the characters take to get to a place that might already be known to many. I don't know them, so I'm very much looking forward to it. This next one here, a little more lukewarm, 3.5 out of 5. There's no standalone episode unfolding supporting characters, a triumph last time around. So that this one is not, a big fan of the way that it treats supporting characters, which I don't know if it's just referring to the fact that they don't have a standalone episode to Ellie and I forget the character that Storm Reed plays. Is it Riley? I can't remember, but maybe it's just referring to that fact. Anyways, it continues on. But the expanded scale with which the snarling, swarming infected are depicted is thrilling and horrifying. Okay, that's again consistent theme here. A 5 out of 5 here. As an adaptation, Season 2 of The Last of Us improves upon its source material in every conceivable way. It is the best game adaptation ever made, and then some. Really, really encouraging to hear. Next one, Season 2. I'm just going to read one more positive, and then we'll try to find a couple negatives before we get out of here. Season 2 delivers a bigger, bolder story that will undoubtedly upset and challenge audiences, okay? It's brutally raw, vulnerable, and it will likely drive viewers to tears every other episode, thanks to the powerhouse performances from Bella Ramsey, and Pedro Pascal. So that, again, is a it's kind of a scary review to think about, how devastated we might be. But again, I think what we want out of good television is emotion. We want the action, and we want all these things that people are talking about. So that's exciting. Let me find a couple negative reviews though before we jump out of this segment, just because I think it's interesting to always counterbalance what we're hearing if it's mostly positive. So this one is negative, or it's rotten at least, and this one says frustrating, morally messy, and occasionally lovely. The second season is bigger and broader than ever, exchanging heart-melting scenes grounded by Pascal and Ramsey for relentless torture and execution sequences. That's interesting to hear. Okay. Moving on. I haven't heard anything about Abby, but played by Caitlin Dever, in these reviews, so we'll see. A lot of these, though, if you'll notice, because the Rotten Fresh metrics, right, it's just, did you like it? Did you not like it? And so, you could get a 6 out of 10, or you could get a 10 out of 10, and then they would both be positive. But I'm just scanning through here, and it really looks like the vast majority of these are 4 out of 5, 5 out of 5, 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10. So if that tells you anything, you need to know as well. And there was one more negative review that I wanted to look at. Here we go. The Last of Us Season 2 is a mixed bag, full of gorgeous craftsmanship, from riveting turns, from celebrity guest stars to carefully concocted faux fungus. That's an interesting phrase. However, it ultimately feels a bit unsure of its own reason for being. Okay, so again, even the negative ones are still acknowledging that there are some great things in this season of television. And honestly, I mean, I don't know, other than 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, I don't know how much more you could have asked from these reviews, because they all just seem like they are very glowing endorsements of the second season of The Last of Us. So I am very excited, and we will obviously be doing our spoiler reactions to spoiler discussions for the first couple episodes in the coming weeks. So guys, what do you think of the first reviews for The Last of Us Season 2? Let me know in the comments down below.